You're listening to Zeitgeist Banana, a podcast all about the English language. My name's Gideon and I'm in London, kind of, and I'm joined today by Jon, also in London. Hello, Jon.
Hello, Gideon. How are you doing? You've been in a hotel room for a while. Is that right?
For 9 days and 1 day to go. Yeah, well, to cut a long story short, I've got COVID. But I'm okay, yeah. But I had to self-isolate, which, by the way, it's completely irrelevant. We talk about COVID, but self-isolate, isn't that bad English? Shouldn't it be isolate? Because if you isolate, you have to do it yourself, don't you? Why do you need the self in front of it?
That's a good point, isn't it? I had never really thought about that.
I've had a long time to think about these things since I've been isolating here.
Yeah,
in a hotel room.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I suppose self-isolate means you're not necessarily isolating with other people, right? But isolation in itself suggests you're on your own, so it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a really strange time because I came over to London just, I don't know, for a little break, and I took a test on day 2, and surprise, surprise, it came back as positive. So I didn't really have any symptoms or anything, so I'm very, very fortunate. But I've had to stay 9 days in a hotel. It can come out tomorrow. So
I think I helped you on the road to recovery by providing you with a curry on Friday.
You were so kind. Listen, listeners, Jon was really, really kind. He came round to the hotel, saw him through the window briefly, and he bought me a curry. First hot food I had in a long time. That was so kind. Yeah.
Apparently that's how you get rid of curry.
I think it really helped. Anyway,
sorry, it's not get rid of curry. Get rid of COVID.
Curry gets rid of COVID.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure that's medically proven, but it worked for me.
There'll be a conspiracy theory going around now.
Yeah. I think so. Anyway, I'm well enough to do a podcast with you today, Jon. So
you are.
Happy to do that. And today's podcast, well, actually, I have a little dialogue for you today. Okay. To the listener, you have to guess what the subject is. So I'm going to send this over to you, Jon.
Okay.
And you are Jon and I'm Gideon. Okay. So you have to read your part and I read my part. Okay. Jon, you're under arrest.
What for?
You killed Perkins from accounts. Doris from HR found out, so you killed her too.
It was an accident.
You shot her 14 times.
Please, Gideon, no.
You did the crime. Now you're going to do the time. Take him away. You're going down.
No.
Okay, that's pretty good. So today, the podcast is about vocabulary, expressions, idioms related to crime. And you know what? The reason I'm doing this is because I've had some students who watch lots of these detective stories or detective series or police series or whodunits or whatever you like to call them.
Yeah.
And they don't get some of the vocabulary, some of the police vocabulary. So I thought that'd be a good theme as well.
Yeah, definitely. The listeners should know that I didn't kill Perkins. That was
or Doris from accounts.
Or Doris, in fact. I shot her 14 times. That seems a bit excessive. Yeah.
Let me ask you then, do you have a favorite detective? Did you read detective books? Do you read detective books? Do you watch TV series involving crime and, that type of thing?
I have done in the past. I have to say it's not my favorite thing in the world. I mean, I have read Sherlock Holmes. I have read The 39 Steps, which I think we decided was kind of a detective novel as well.
Yeah.
And, occasionally when I was on school holidays, I would watch Columbo.
So would you say Columbo's your favorite detective? Or?
Let's say Columbo is my favorite detective, or Bergerac, because he had a nice Jaguar, didn't he? So.
A Bergerac. I'm not sure all the listeners. I think most listeners know who Columbo is.
Yeah, they probably know who Columbo is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who Bergerac is myself. I thought that was a little town in France. But what was it? What's Bergerac?
Bergerac, I think he was based in Jersey.
Yeah.
and he used to drive around in his red, I think it was a Jaguar, a red kind of old school Jaguar, and clearly Jersey had lots of issues with murders and stuff, which I'm not sure is very true.
Yeah, and apparently that always makes me laugh when you have like some of these, I don't know, Agatha Christie, Mrs. Marple, where she lives in a little village, and there are like it's the most dangerous place in the world because there are like dozens of murders there every week. There's another murder, and the police are so incompetent they can't solve it, so they have to get this septuagenarian old lady to help them solve all the murders that are going on.
I know it's quite surprising how a small village in rural Oxfordshire is kind of,
Yeah.
worse than a war zone. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I used to read a lot of Raymond Chandler. Do you know Raymond Chandler?
I know the name, but I've not read his stuff.
I read quite a lot a while ago. And basically it's the opposite of Agatha Christie. So he tries to take detective stories out of the clues about a Venetian vase in the billiard room, and take a detective onto the street where he's mean, he's kind of in bad shape, he drinks too much, and but he's tough and he solves the crime. So it's kind of that kind of hard-boiled, they call it, the hard-boiled detective. That's our first word of the day.
Hard-boiled.
So yeah, Philip Marlowe is a hard-boiled detective.
Okay, but so it just means that he's a strong, tough guy. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. If you can see the Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart, or the book of the same name, of course, by Philip Marlowe, and there's quite a few others. The other one who wrote a hard-boiled detective stories, famous one, is Dashiell Hammett. Is it Hammett or Hamnet? Hammett, I think, who wrote The Maltese Falcon.
Oh, okay. And
also with Humphrey Bogart in it. So that was.
So he's been typecast. I mean, like with kind of looking a bit surly and smoking cigarettes constantly.
I think those are the detective stories I quite like. I'm not really into, to be honest, not these sort of Agatha Christie, very, very, very like twee and calm. And in the end, they get all the suspects in the same room and they go through all the clues and find out who the murderer is. I don't think it's ever happened in history of criminality. That's the way that they found the murderer.
Well, that is curious, though, isn't it? The fact that is such a popular formula, isn't it? When it's not really very realistic. But I suppose that's the wonderful nature of TV, isn't it?
It is hugely popular in detective stories and all that. And also, I think that if you're learning English, a detective story is actually quite good because they're rarely that difficult to read, with the exception of some maybe words related to crime, which we're going to look at today. So even you mentioned Columbo, and I know quite a few of my students have watched Columbo in order to improve their English, because they will speak very clearly.
Oh, okay.
And it's a nice plot and it's quite easy to follow. Yeah. So even if you got an intermediate level of English, you could watch Columbo and really, get a lot out of it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I suppose
without subtitles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite old now, isn't it? But I guess they must still have it on TV in most places. I don't know.
I think I can't remember. I found was it Amazon Prime, maybe. I watched it recently, one episode. I was curious because who directed the first ever episode of Columbo? It was Steven Spielberg.
Oh, I was going to say that,
You were? You knew that?
I was. I didn't know that, but I was going to say it was him.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. He directed the first ever episode. I think he was in his 20s or mid-20s or something, and obviously. But his career never amounted to much in the end, so went downhill from then on.
But that must have been his launching pad. They were like, wow, Columbo, now you can do E.T. Now you can,
I guess so. Okay, now you've done Columbo, you can do E.T. Was that the conversation?
Pretty much.
Okay, well, I've done a detective story, so now I'll do about this extraterrestrial.
Yeah,
coming to live with a family.
Good link there. Good link.
Okay. Hey, let's go through some of the vocabulary. So if you do watch Columbo or Bergerac or Agatha Christie, or you do read Philip Marlowe, Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett, all those other people that I won't mention, there are lots more. If you watch Starsky and Hutch, that's one of my favorites from my childhood.
Good. It's pretty good.
Starsky and Hutch. I like Starsky and Hutch. There was a film recently, well, not recently, about 10 years ago, was it, with Ben Stiller, a sort of comedy version of Starsky and Hutch. Actually, that was quite good.
Yeah, I probably have seen that. I think it's quite a good one, isn't it?
Right. So let's look at first at a few idioms, a few expressions. So the first one I've got down here is to be caught red-handed. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
What does that mean, John?
So
have you ever been caught red-handed?
Probably when I was a child, yeah. Or, stealing a bit of cake when I shouldn't have been.
Okay.
That's possible. But being caught red-handed is when you are caught in the act of doing something bad.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you can probably shed some light on this, but I'm guessing the reason why it's red-handed is because you've killed somebody and you've got blood on your hands. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I always picture someone with a knife and the blood is still on the knife as you've just stabbed the person. Yeah. And yes, someone comes in and goes, we've caught you red-handed, i.e. with blood still on your hands.
Indeed, yeah. But I mean, obviously, when I was stealing a cake, it wasn't like that. But it's metaphorical, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you steal cake, your hands is not red usually.
Unless it's red cake.
The jam in it or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a good point. If it's got jam on it. Yeah.
Yeah, or tomato ketchup.
Is that how you make your cakes?
Yeah.
Then remind me never to eat one of your cakes.
Yeah, no, good idea. So I say, I caught John red-handed stealing my carrot cake from the kitchen. It was for the party, but John came in the middle of the night and stole it. But I was there and I caught him red-handed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So we caught the burglar red-handed stealing the things, or the murderer red-handed. So you'll see that a lot. Mm-hmm. The next one is a red herring.
A red herring.
Yeah. What is a red herring?
So red herring is a clue that is basically not the correct clue. So it gives you an idea of something has happened. It's not the actual clue. Is that?
Yeah.
I'm not explaining it very well.
No, I think maybe it's best explained with an example. Maybe I can give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's been a murder in John's neighborhood, and then I'm a policeman and I find a knife covered in blood in John's apartment. So I think John's the murderer. So I arrest him, and because we found the murder weapon, and we do analysis of the knife, and it's not blood at all. It's jam, because he was making a cake. And so we let you go. So sorry, that was a red herring. We thought, there was a murder and we saw your red knife, and but no. So it's a false clue.
A false clue, yeah.
Yeah, it takes you the wrong way. A clue which misleads you. Yeah,
I'm a bit worried that you would arrest me because of a jammy knife. I mean, you can't tell the difference.
Because I'm not a very good detective. That's why I'm an English teacher, not a detective. Yeah, we took it to the lab.
Took it to the lab to see if it was jam or not. That is a red herring. That's a good
red herring. It's called. What about this one? A hunch. I've got a hunch, John. That's a nice one. They use that in detective stories quite a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of an instinct, isn't it, for something? It's some intuition about something. I've got a hunch that it was Gideon who did it.
Yeah, it's like a feeling, isn't it? You can't really. A hunch is like a feeling that cannot necessarily be explained by the facts. So I don't know why, but I feel that John's the murderer, even though we haven't got any clues. Just the way he's been acting recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, I keep accusing you of murder. Podcast.
You do, yeah. I mean, I'm actually
using you.
Speaking to you from Wormwood Scrubs. So yeah.
Okay, which is a prison. By the way,
it's okay. They allow podcasts in the prison.
So apparently, yes. So there you are. There are a few other words related to crime. I've got a few here. Ill-gotten gains. Yeah, what does it mean then?
So it means that I've got some money, for example, from a bank, which was not mine. So ill-gotten means in an illegal way, and a gain is something you have benefited from or profited from in some way.
Exactly. So if, for example, I rob a bank and you find out about it and I say, John, have some of the money from the bank, but don't tell the police that I'm the bank robber. The money you have are ill-gotten gains. You haven't obtained it in a legal way, in a fair way. You haven't worked for it. It's stolen money. So you could say these are my ill-gotten gains. You could also say, I think, the loot.
The loot.
Isn't it? That's another way. It would be a synonym of that. It would be amongst the criminals, wouldn't call it ill-gotten gains. The criminal might call it the loot. Where did you put the loot?
That's true, isn't it? Yeah. And often you have that when, I don't know, for example, there's a riot or something and people loot shops, don't they? Like they smash the window and steal a few things.
Yeah, it's the same word with slightly different meaning when it's a verb and when it's a noun. When it's a verb, it means like stealing from shops when there's a riot or something. But the loot means the stolen things.
Yeah,
from I could be a bank robbery or anything. So the word comes from Hindi, actually. You know that it's one of the words, a few words in English from Hindi language. Yeah,
cool.
Loot. So to loot. So going more into crime, there is quite a difference between British and American English. You know that? When I was doing research, I realized there are so many different expressions in British American English when it comes to criminality.
Really? Yeah, is that because they have more crime than us?
No, it's just a different. I'll give you some examples. So if you're watching British series or American series, you'll have different words for some things. So, for example, in American English, they say an autopsy, or I should say an autopsy. It's a terrible American accent. Which, when somebody's been murdered or somebody's dead, then you'll cut up the body to find out why the person died. In American, it's called an autopsy, but in British English, you know it, John, don't you?
It's a post-mortem, isn't it?
A post-mortem, yeah.
Post-mortem examination, they normally say.
Yeah, exactly. The other one, which if you're watching American English, the person that does the autopsy, I think it's the coroner. Is that right?
In America or in
American
UK?
English, I think, is a coroner.
Is it?
Yeah.
So we would say pathologist? A
pathologist, yeah.
Okay.
The person does it as a pathologist. So coroner is an very old word. It's like that they've been appointed by the crown, crown.
But that's American English.
Yeah. We don't say coroner in British English, do we? Not very much. Not related to the death or a murder or something. We don't talk about coroners, do we? So we talk about the pathologist.
Yeah, but that's a curious one, isn't it? So the Americans would use something related to the crown.
Well, yeah, it's a very, very old word. It does exist in British English, but we use it in, I think, maybe slightly different way. But,
okay.
Pathologist. And also another word, it depends. I think, I did believe it or not, I did do a bit of research on this, because American English, American crime, it's very, how do you say, it's based, the states, different states in the US have different words for things. In England, there's only usually one word, which is used throughout the country. So, for example, in Britain, you'll have murder and you'll have manslaughter. And can you explain what manslaughter is? Maybe I'm not sure everyone knows what murder is.
Yeah, so manslaughter is when you kill somebody without intending to do it. So maybe if you're driving drunk and you hit somebody on the side of the road and kill them, and it was an accident, but obviously you have killed them because of your lack of responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought manslaughter was a British word, And American had a different word, which I'm mostly correct, but apparently in a few US states, they do say manslaughter, but mostly they would say intentional homicide would be murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I think murder 2 or unintentional homicide would be the same as manslaughter. So you might hear murder 2 in some states. Apparently in some states there's murder 1, murder 2, and murder 3.
Oh, really?
In some, yeah, in American states. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to go into great detail.
Okay.
And also, you have in American English justifiable homicide, where you're defending yourself. You kill somebody when you're defending yourself. Then it would be counted as justifiable homicide. That's certainly not a British term. But
well, I suppose legally we have some differences there, don't we? So
even this is a common one when I'm talking to my students, because the American ones, of course, more famous. So they think the word for policeman is cops, which is in American, but we don't say cops in British English, really. That's an American term, isn't it?
It is an American term.
Yeah, the cops. I said the cops around the corner. You said, why are you speaking like that? What are you talking about? Why are you speaking like an American?
We know exactly what they mean, though, don't we? If we say the cops, I mean, we
yeah, but you wouldn't say that to a British person if you're British.
No, you'd probably say the pigs, wouldn't you? Or the
I've got a list of a few here.
Okay.
So the coppers, you could say coppers.
The coppers, yeah, that's true.
The old Bill.
The old Bill, yeah.
The Rozzers.
The Rozzers, I like that one. My brother uses that one.
Is that right? I never. What the hell does that mean? The Rozzers. I have no idea where that comes from.
Really? Yeah, I bet maybe that's a Midlands thing. I don't know. The Rozzers.
Yeah, I don't know. I said, the old Bill. John, hide the loot. The old Bill are coming. John, they're after you.
That's probably a Cockney thing.
Put on a false beard and a mustache.
Yeah, I will do. I've already been nicked. Been nicked.
You've been so nicked means arrested.
Yes.
Well, that's another one. I think that's more British as well. You're nicked.
You're nicked, sunshine.
Yeah. The other words for you mentioned as well. You say the pigs. I think they say that American English too, don't they?
Do they? It's quite.
Pigs.
I guess it's derogatory, isn't it?
It is derogatory. Yes, it's a derogative term. And the filth. That's another derogative term.
Yeah, caught by the filth. Yeah.
The filth,
yeah. Or, well, I don't know if this is really a one, but you used to say that the cars used to be a jam sandwich.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that because they have like, why is that a white and a red stripe? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There's a jam sandwich on the way.
Okay. So, John, in American English, you'll have a felony and a misdemeanor. It's a challenge. Do you know the difference? So I tell you the British English, you'll know instantly.
Well, don't tell me first. I think I know. I think felony is more serious, isn't it? Like, so exactly. if I robbed a bank, then that would be a felony. A misdemeanor would be if I stole your wallet from your pocket. Is that right? Yeah.
Depends how much in the wallet.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly. More serious crimes are called felonies in American English, and misdemeanors are lesser crimes. In British English, I think you would say a crime or a serious crime and a petty crime.
Yes, we do say
petty crime, don't we? So you say petty crime from the French petit, small.
That's where it's from. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you stole a banana from the supermarket, that would be a petty crime.
It would.
You'd only go to prison for 5 years, John. Whereas if you robbed a bank, you go to prison for 6 years.
Seems proportional.
Yeah, exactly. Seems fair enough. Because it would be a serious crime.
Indeed. Yeah.
So as you can see, there's quite a lot of words differences. As you can see, there are a lot of differences between British and American English. Another word we don't use so much in British English, but you'll hear a lot in these American TV shows and stories, is larceny.
Larceny.
We don't really say that, do we?
Yeah. What does that mean exactly? Is that to do with fraud?
I had to check, actually. I think it's a theft, serious theft. It's larceny. Burglary would be larceny. So as you can see, there's a lot of differences between British and American English, aren't there?
There are quite a few differences. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So, and you're nicked, as you mentioned earlier. You've been arrested. You're under arrest. You're under arrest, John.
Again,
yeah.
This time.
Well, let's look at some other words. I think this one most people know, but the pronunciation is sometimes confusing, and that is alibi, not alibi, as I've heard it being said.
People
alibi.
Alibi. Yeah, it's alibi, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. John, you're under arrest. Do you have an alibi? Where there was a murder on Sunday night, where were you?
I was.
Perkins was murdered.
When Perkins
and
was
Doris
murdered
from HR. She was shot 14 times. Where were you?
I was down the pub with Bob.
With Bob?
Yeah, Bob from accounts.
Sounds very, very fishy to me. Fishy meaning suspicious.
It does, yeah. But that's my alibi, and you've got to accept it.
Well, he was murdered, and we suspect foul play. A law had been broken. It wasn't fair. It wasn't an accident. Yes. Something happened that was illegal. Something bad happened, and it was illegal, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I guess foul play is there's some illegality there, isn't there?
Well, we could look at a couple more crimes as well. Blackmail.
Ooh, blackmail. I like that one. That's my favorite kind of crime.
That's the one you do the most.
That's the one I do the most, yes.
Okay, so what's blackmail?
So blackmail is potentially when I don't know, so maybe with celebrities, they take a picture of, I don't know, somebody like Matt Damon, I don't know, with another woman. And they take a photo of him and they say, "Oi, Matt, we're going to show your wife unless you give us £10,000.
John, unless you give me £20,000, I'm going to tell the listeners that you're not really from Birmingham."
You've just told them.
So I say that
I don't have to give you the money. Then.
People aren't in on the joke. We did a video together, John and I, where John, you do your Birmingham accent, and there are lots of comments. The video are saying, "This guy's not from Birmingham. He doesn't sound like he's Birmingham." But yes, so check out that video.
It's a very good video.
Accent, a very good video, and you did go to school in Birmingham, so it is kind of justified, and you do the accent. You can do the accent. So
I can do it. Apparently, I sound more like somebody from the Black Country. But
yeah, apparently that's what they said. What about this crime? Kidnap.
Kidnap. Yes. So that's not when you, because I think this is a curious one, isn't it? Because it's not about children. It could be anybody, right? Because kid. So it's when, for example,
it could be goat.
It could be a goat.
Yeah, because kid means a goat, isn't it? A male goat is a kid.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be right.
So you could steal. Maybe the origins, they were stealing goats.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So if you steal somebody, like you abduct them, and you would ask for a ransom, wouldn't you? Which means that you ask for money in order to return that person.
Exactly. You brought up an interesting point, actually, because abduct, people get confused with the word abduct and kidnap, because abduct, they don't ask for money. They just take the person.
Oh, okay.
But kidnap is you want a ransom. You could have mentioned the word ransom, John. Yeah.
Ransom.
Will only return your loved one to you if you pay $1 million. So that would be the ransom. What about this one? Embezzlement.
Embezzlement. That's
I like that word. I think I'm only saying it because I like the word so much. It sounds really important. Embezzlement. You're arrested for embezzlement. It
does sound good, doesn't it? I mean, that was the reason why I killed Perkins from accounts, because he was embezzling lots of money.
Oh, yes, the verb to embezzle, yeah.
Yeah, so it means that you were kind of taking money, most likely out of a company, is it? When you're kind of maybe working in an official capacity, but you're kind of like, okay, well, nobody's going to notice if I take that money and put it in my account.
Exactly. You take the company's money and put it into your personal account. That would be an example of embezzlement.
Yeah, it is a nice word, though. I do like that word.
Yeah. Okay. So this could be another example of foul play. Well, the accounts look a bit strange. I suspect foul play. The money's gone missing. There's some foul play here.
Indeed, yeah, definitely something dodgy going on.
To be framed.
To be framed. I was framed.
You were framed?
I was framed, yeah. It wasn't me. It was Jethro from The Warehouse who killed
Jethro
killed Perkins and Doris.
Okay. Can I give an example?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, for example, I murder someone wearing gloves with a gun, and then I creep into John's apartment when he's sleeping, and he's sleeping, so I put his hand on the gun, and then I put the gun on the table next to his bed, and then I call the police, and the police come round. They found the gun and John's fingerprints on it. And John says, "No, I wasn't there." He goes, "Oh, we caught you red-handed." He goes, "No, I've been framed."
I have been framed.
So someone has tricked you to make it look like that you are the guilty person.
Yeah. That would be a dastardly thing for you to do.
I wouldn't think of doing anything like that. It wasn't me. It was Matt Damon that murdered Perkins from accounts. Honestly.
I think at one point we're going to get a lawsuit from
It's kind of cool. Exactly. Slander.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, one of the kind of curious things when you read these older, because I think it's out of not used now, but these older detective stories from like the ones I used to read, Raymond Chandler, with like the 30s and 40s and things. The detective, the private detective, is always referred to as a private dick.
Oh, I've never heard that one before.
Yes, I'm a private dick. So yeah, I've got a private dick on the case. So I always find that quite strange.
It's strange.
Let's not go.
Yeah, because dick has a different meaning, doesn't it? So
possibly. There are other words for detective. I thought we'd go through one or two of the words which you may or may not know. A sleuth.
A sleuth. I've definitely heard of that one. Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes would be a sleuth.
Why is he a sleuth?
Well, I think it's kind of like a detective or a private detective who goes through all the clues. You imagine them having a big magnifying glass. That's how I consider a sleuth.
Okay, yeah.
Looking through all the clues and stuff. So a sleuth. A Seamus.
I've not heard of that one. That sounds Irish in some way.
I don't know why they say that one, but again, these are a bit old-fashioned, so you might not know them. John. Another one is a gumshoe.
Gumshoe? No, definitely don't know that.
That's, again, if you read the older ones, gumshoe. But I think we still use sleuth today. Private dick, not so much.
Yeah. No, I've definitely not heard private dick.
American English, you might say PI.
Oh, I've heard PI.
Private eye or a private investigator. Have you heard that?
I've heard that one, yeah. You used to have Magnum PI, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, Magnum PI. Yeah, that was with Tom Selleck.
Yeah, that's
in Hawaii.
Right.
That's one we can recommend to the listeners because that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
The original series. I think they remade it, didn't they? But the original series from the 80s, I think.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was pretty cool.
It was.
Yeah, I also remember Hawaii Five-0. I don't know why there's so many detectives set in Hawaii.
Yeah, another dangerous place.
Again, that's from the 70s. I think they redid that as well.
Yeah,
recently. Yeah. I remember the 70s one. Book 'em, Dallo. Murder one. Yeah,
you're definitely showing your age.
Well, and I thought finally, John, you've been nicked, you've been caught red-handed, you don't have an alibi, so we're sending you to prison. But can you think of any synonyms for a prison?
You can use the nick, can't you?
The nick. Yes, that's one. That's a British English one. It's in the nick. You could say the clink.
The clink, yeah, that's a good one.
That's interesting because that was a real prison called the Clink.
Was it?
I thought it was something with the clinking of keys, like onomatopoeia sounds.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually, you can visit it. It's in London. It's on the South Bank.
Oh, really?
Actually, a medieval prison called the Clink.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
And
so
you could say jail, couldn't you, as well?
You can say jail. How do you spell jail?
It depends if you're British or American. So officially in Britain, we would spell it GAOL, but we do actually use the American one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone spells it like that anymore.
No. So
I think it's all J. The Americans have won this battle. We all spell it JAIL now, I think.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in old books. You see GAOL for jail.
That's true.
The Ballad of Reading Jail by Oscar Wilde. That's GAOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't think. The Slammer. There we go. There's another one.
The Slammer. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And this is one which is confused my students, because the difference between do and make, to do time and to make time.
Mm-hmm.
That's
an important difference.
Important difference. So my students said, well, I was doing time for my maybe you can explain the difference.
Well, so doing time means that you're actually in prison, doesn't it? For a crime. So you're doing time, but obviously making time is you're kind of saving time in some way, so that you're creating time somewhere else.
Exactly.
So that is a curious one. It's quite a distinctive difference. I mean, in fact, in my podcast, we're going to do one about do and make.
Oh, we'll have to go over that one again then.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe it's a good time for you to say who you are before we throw you in jail and throw away the key.
Indeed. So yeah, I'm John. I'm from English with Monty. We have a podcast talking about English things, and the next episode is going to be about do and make. So it's either already out there, or you're about to download it, or you've listened to it 5 weeks ago. But, depending on when you're listening to this one. But so that's me.
So, oh yes, and do remember to watch our YouTube channel, Let Them Talk TV. My name's Gideon. I'm in self-isolation in London. And so catch you next time. And goodbye, John.
Goodbye, Gideon. Lovely to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Look after yourself.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Wear a mask. Okay.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.